Hi, I'm Kenesha. Welcome to my channel. I'm here to talk about Sense8 Season 1, Episode 7, and I'm starting with Nomi. So she gets her Nancy Drew on and ends up in a mess. I think that Metzger was going to do the brain surgery on her and have the outcome be that she ends up being just like Niles that was in that facility. And for me, that raises another question. Why would Matheson, formerly known as Old Guy, want to have the Sense8s be vegetables? The only thing I could really come up with that might be plausible was kind of shown at the end of this episode. I think Matheson wants to be able to take over like someone else's body, and he can do whatever he wants. He can be anywhere, do anything. He can steal, he can kill, anything. And I mean, he's not a good guy, so he wants to take advantage of this ability and, I don't know, steal, kill. He can do whatever, and none of it's gonna be good. So I think he just kind of wants to be able to like puppeteer people. There's still like there's something else. There's some other objective that I feel like he must want. I don't think it's just to like go on a crime spree and never get caught. There's something else going on. I don't know what it is yet, and I probably won't be able to figure out, so I'll just keep watching, and I'm sure the show's gonna tell me. But right now I think Matheson just wants to take advantage of this connection that people can have, and be able to like puppeteer their bodies and do whatever he wants. Meeting Niles in this episode, it did make me curious about whether he was in Angelica's cluster. Like, Angelica gave birth to these new group of Sense8s, and I've wondered like what happened to the rest of her people. I'm assuming that there's always 8 in a cluster for now. So we've seen Jonas, who I assume was part of Angelica's cluster, and I suspect Niles might have been. It is possible that there's like multiple clusters that exist at once. So I don't think, Angelica's clusters or the people in Angelica's cluster are all dead or something. I just think Niles was a part of it, and he got caught by Matheson and ended up what he is now. I'm hoping that someone else, hopefully several of them, but I'm hoping that someone else in Angelica's cluster is still around and has full functioning of their own mind, and I just hope that there's someone that can mentor these Sense8s, and someone from Angelica's cluster doing it would be awesome, I think, because I don't think Jonas is a viable option. So I would love to see the people in Angelica's cluster and have it be like crystal clear, like maybe in a flashback or something. I don't know if the show would go that far into the history of whatever experiment this is, or discovery. I think it's a science experiment, I think it's experimental how this limbic resonance stuff works, but maybe it's natural. But I would love for the show to go into like the history of Angelica and see what happened to everyone else in her cluster and see all the people in her cluster. So another question I had raised by this ending with Nomi's investigation was, why did Matheson kill Metzger? It seemed like he was doing what Matheson wanted him to do. Maybe it was some kind of, maybe the fact that Nomi was able to reach out to Matheson is what got Metzger killed, because I guess it's supposed to be a secret. And I guess Metzger kind of violated whatever, I don't know, policy or something. I don't know. But like that seems, I don't know, that seems contradictory to what Matheson wanted in the first place. Angelica told Jonas to protect the Sense8s from Matheson. So seems like he wants them. He wants to see them, to capture them, to do surgery on them. Obviously, Metzger was scared when he realized Nomi reached out to Matheson. But it seems like Nomi kind of did what Matheson wanted by reaching out. So I don't know. For now, I just think Matheson, maybe Matheson just believes Metzger is obsolete and served his purpose. And I guess is tying up loose ends. The other question I had was, why would Matheson kill Whispers? Because if I'm right and Matheson wants to lobotomize these Sense8s and be able to control their bodies whenever he wants, then Whispers did exactly what Matheson wanted him to do, which is be nothing until Matheson needed to use him. So there's something else going on that I can't see right now. And there's a hint of something else happening. It's not all revealed yet, of course. And are there 13 episodes a season? I think so. Or is it 8? I don't remember how many episodes there are, but yeah, we're just finally getting into the mystery of, why was Angelica hiding? Why did she want Jonas to protect her kids? We're just now getting into it, and I'm very excited about it. And there's so many questions about Matheson and why he killed those guys. Why is he upset with I got a lot of questions. But yeah, I just think Matheson wanted to do the surgery on the Sense8 so he could control them and do whatever crime he wants to do. I gotta say, I was very irritated when Nomi and Neets were trying to run away and they were just knocking on every neighbor's door. I feel like the only reason that happened was so that they would still be in that complex and Nomi could see that Matheson was controlling Whispers. And just to have that shot in the mirror. That's the only reason I think any of that happened the way it did. And it bothered me because, of course, it doesn't make sense. Like, if you're, okay, There's a guy with a gun, he's chasing after you, and you're gonna stop and knock on every person's door for help. But you gotta be running out of the building. Like, you can't just be hoping to take refuge in the building. So that really bothered me. And I feel like the shot with Matheson controlling whispers could have been done in a different way. I think it's possible that it could have been done like outside, like the girls are running away, maybe they pass like a storefront and there's like, you know, a building that's got like windows, like they could just pass by a store and Metzger's running out too. Like, oh, it's tricky, but I don't like that the only reason they were still in the building was because of that shot of Matheson holding the gun, and Nomi could see it was Matheson. So I feel like something else could have been done. I do think that shot could have been achieved by the girls like running outside. But yeah, I didn't like how that went. I will say the shot with Madison was very cool, but the way that they got there, I wasn't a fan of. Next, I want to talk about Will and Diego. So I'm very happy that they're looking into that altered camera footage. I feel like that happened in like episode 2 or 3, so it feels like it's been a while, but they got a lead. They were able to get some evidence about, you know, suspicious activity, to say the least. And so when Will and Diego are at the whatever van company, whatever, they look into the van and Will sees Angelica. I'm very happy that this happened, because if you watch my previous videos, you know that I love seeing Angelica because I think she is a gateway into getting more answers about all this stuff with Jonas and Matheson and whatever's happening with these Sense8s. So I think I'm choosing to believe that seeing Angelica in these last couple of episodes means she's still alive somehow. Don't know how. I think her consciousness is still kind of connected to the Sense8s. Probably because she created them, gave birth to them, however it works. But I think I don't know if like her full mind is still intact, or if each of the Sense8s can like access part of Angelica. I don't know, but I'm choosing to believe that she's still alive somehow. I did wonder, after seeing what Matheson did to Niles at the end of this episode, I did wonder, could someone have been controlling Angelica in the first episode? But I kind of ended up dismissing that thought, because I do think Angelica was in full control of herself in the first episode. But I do think Angelica somehow is still around. I want to believe that she will be hidden away somewhere in the flesh, but that seems too far-fetched even for me, even in my desperation to have her back on the show. But I do think the Sense8s will have a connection to Angelica, and she will be able to visit them or like speak to them like we saw in the previous episode. So I just think these like visions of her means she's still around. Still don't know how, but I'm taking this as a sign, and I'm choosing to believe she will be back somehow. Moving on to LHD. I was really concerned about seeing them at dinner together, just because it's like, that's a tough situation. And I do actually really like the three of them together. I like their dynamics. When Daniela first kind of barged in on their relationship, I was super confused about how this was going to work and why she was okay with Lito and Hernando being together and being Lito's beard. That was all confusing. But I do like them together. They have like really good chemistry as friends, and of course Lito and Hernando have really good chemistry being in a relationship together. And I do like, I'm happy that everyone together is like welcoming to Daniela, and they're like all on good terms despite the crazy situation that's happening. And if she had been like an unwelcome guest and they like never wanted her around, their scenes together would have been a nightmare to watch. So I'm very happy that they are getting along, and she is supportive of them and kind of trying to help them be together in public in her own way. But it's nice, and I like seeing them together. I was concerned about the dinner because I did feel like Lito and Hernando could have been caught if they tried to sneak away and make out or something. But it seemed good. I was worried about them holding hands like under the table, because there was a lady right behind them that took a picture of them. So that was living on the edge, I think. But that part worked out, so okay. But yeah, I like their dynamic together as it is. And now that Joaquin has messed it all up, and well, okay, I say Joaquin messed it up, but it is kind of Danny's fault, right? It wasn't on purpose, but it kind of all on her. So Joaquin shows up, and he was the guy in the mask from in the luchador mask from the previous episode. Nice to get confirmation, and I'm surprised at how fast we got confirmation in the very next episode, because it seems like with some of these other things going on, you gotta wait maybe at least 2 episodes to get like a response or a continuation. So okay, nice that happened so fast. I'm down with that. So Joaquin steals her phone, and I'm I guess I'm really sad about how LHD's relationship is going to take a turn. Like, I don't think it can be as happy and like kind of carefree as it was before, with the dynamic that they all had with each other. So now that the cat's out of the bag, Joaquin can use the pictures that Danny took and blackmail them, or he could just ruin Lito's career. I think that LHC's relationship dynamic has to change, and I'm upset that their scenes together are just gonna be like tense and like anxious, and I don't know, maybe a little angry. There might be some anger towards her and what she's done. I'm just sad that it's changing now, because it was really good. And like their scenes together, even though they're always together, all three of them in every scene, it was nice. I got used to it and it was fine. And now now I'm sad about it. I don't think that Daniela is going to be able to convince Joaquin to back down. Maybe the only way that she could is if she decides to like start dating him or just be in a relationship with him. Because here's the thing, even if you give him what he wants, which is Daniela, I don't think that's gonna be enough. He obviously is not a rational, sane human being. So even if she tries to go that route and like get in his good graces, break up with Lito, do all that, I don't think he's gonna hand over the photos or delete the photos or anything like that. So this is a lose-lose situation for everyone. And I don't think there's gonna be a pleasant resolution to this. Because Joaquin's not gonna be like the bigger man and like forgive and forget. That's absolutely not gonna happen. And Lito was concerned about his career. So I don't think Lito would try to beat Joaquin to the punch, so to speak. I don't think Lito would sort of announce his relationship with Hernando. So that seems like a dead end too. So yeah, this is all bad. Bad for everyone. So next I want to talk about Wolfgang and what happened with him. I love Wolfgang and Kala together. I want more of it. I hope they do get together. I mean, they got good chemistry, the actors, and I just believe it more. Kala is so not into Rajan, and I feel bad for the guy because I don't have any reason to believe he would hurt her or, I don't know, like be a bad husband. I don't have any reason to believe any of that. So I feel bad, but Kala's into Wolfgang, and I hope they get together. I'm just into it. But Wolfgang is in some trouble. His friend gets shot. In that sequence, Steiner like trapping them. Steiner, I guess, is also not a sane person like Joaquin, and it surprised me that Steiner would just drive by, do one shot, and then drive away. It seemed, I guess that's supposed to be a warning, but I'm confused about why that happened the way that it did. Why take one shot? Why leave? I doubt he's concerned about someone calling the cops and he gets caught. So if you wanted to hurt them, then like storm into the shop and shoot everything that moves. So I don't know what the deal is. I wonder if Steiner actually, well, Steiner must know that it was Wolfgang and Felix that took the jewels, because the guy that brought the jewels Steiner must have found Abraham, and Abraham must have told him everything. So Steiner knows, they got the jewels. I guess that was a warning, and maybe if you got the jewels, give them to me kind of message Steiner was trying to send. Okay. I think maybe I'm realizing this crazy guy's train of thought. Maybe Steiner shoots into the shop, shoots Felix, and the idea is to get Wolfgang to hand over the jewels instead of having Steiner like raid the shop. Okay, I guess that's why that happened, because initially when it happened and I was, watching the episode, I was very confused. Why take one shot? If you're mad at them, you know that they stole the jewels, light them up. So, I don't know. I was confused, but I think I've maybe figured out why that happened now. So, okay. But now that this has happened, what is Wolfgang going to do? I don't think Wolfgang is the type of guy to give in to threats, and probably not especially from Steiner. It seems like, I think it was in the first episode, Wolfgang, Felix, and Steiner were kind of walking together in a funeral procession. So I feel like they've known each other for a long time, or probably not family, but I think they've known each other for a long time. And if Wolfgang and Steiner are kind of close, I don't think Wolfgang is going to feel pressure to listen to Steiner and follow his demands. So will Wolfgang try to get revenge, or is he going to enact his plans to visit India? I would like him to go to India, of course, because I ship him and Kala. But I feel like Wolfgang's going to try and fight back. I don't know if he's going to try and hurt Steiner or kill Steiner. I don't know if running off with the jewels would be the best thing to do. And if he is going to run off with the jewels, he should not go to Kala. I don't know if Kala would be safe if Wolfgang showed up with the jewels, because Steiner probably wouldn't know where Wolfgang would run off to. But watching that, I would feel bad because Steiner's lurking, and I don't want anything to happen to Kala because of some stolen jewels. But it might be fine. It could be perfectly fine that Wolfgang runs off with the jewels, finds Kala, and they live happily ever after. There's a chance. Obviously, that's not likely, but I mean, I can dream, right? And there's fan fiction. But yeah, I don't actually know if Felix, it seems like Felix is not going to survive, but maybe he does. And then what does that mean? If he does, he'd just be in the hospital and more vulnerable to Steiner's, I don't know, outbursts. So I think what might happen is maybe Felix survives, maybe Steiner has given his warning and won't do anything else to Felix in the hospital. I'm concerned that if Wolfgang gives Steiner the jewels, it could be the same as, with Joaquin. Danny could go to Joaquin and say that she loves him and she wants to be with him, but he's not going to give up the photos. So I think the same thing could happen with Steiner. Wolfgang could give him the jewels, and Steiner could still be pissed off and try to kill Wolfgang. So seems like another lose-lose situation there too. But what I hope happens is for Wolfgang to keep the jewels, not give in to Steiner's intimidations and threats, and to go to Kala. That would be great for me, so I hope that happens. The next thing I want to talk about is Sun. I totally doubted that this would happen, but here we are. Korean prison doesn't look that bad. All I have to go off of to compare to are the American prisons that I see on TV, and those look, as worse as the worst thing you could possibly imagine. It seems like those television depictions, but Korean prison seems pretty nice. Sun, she enters a prison. There's this big grassy field. There was a soccer goal in that wide shot. So they playing games in the yard. It's interesting that she has 3 cellmates, but they were having tea together. Is that that seems like I'm surprised. I'm surprised at how nice it seemed compared to the American prisons. Also, her cellmates seem kind of chill. None of them seem especially violent. So, not so bad. It's a weird thing to say. I realize that, but that is not as horrendous as I thought it might be. And okay, we saw with the sewing stuff, one of the prisoners is intimidating another. I can only assume it's just because that the prisoner that knew how to sew, I can only assume it's just because she seems very meek and reserved and can be pressured. So I'm wondering, is Sun gonna end up starting a gang and being a gang leader? And I don't know. I'm projecting what I know about prisons and American television onto this, so that's where that's coming from. But I just maybe that could be cool. Maybe I don't know how long her sentence is. I feel like it's going to be a very long time. And I don't think Sun is going to be in prison for the entirety of the series. But if she started a prison gang, and I don't know, do they have commissary in the Korean prison? I don't know, can they get stuff from the outside? Who knows? But maybe it could be a Orange is the New Black sort of thing. Maybe not with all of the lesbianism, but I don't know, just gangs in the prison. But now that she's in prison, I can't help but wonder, how is she going to escape? Because again, I don't think she's going to be in prison for the entirety of the series, and I don't think that she is going to complete her prison sentence while the show's going on. So, is there going to be a situation where one of the Sense8s has to fight out of a bad situation and calls upon Sun to use her fighting skills. And then, kind of like what happened with Will and Riley in the previous episode. So Will was suffocating and he was fighting off the people that were torturing Riley, but also he was fighting off all of his cop friends in the bar at the same time. So could something like that happen with Sun and she ends up escaping? I thought maybe in the previous video I did, I think I talked about how Sun could escape by sharing with Capheus, and maybe Capheus gets attacked by, or when he's trying to take Silas's daughter to a treatment, so Capheus has to fight off these attackers, and maybe the same thing happens with Sun in the prison and she ends up escaping. Maybe something like that could happen. I kind of think Matheson is going to end up being a bigger part of all of these stories very soon. We do know that Metzger had a flight to Seoul. So I think that means Matheson knows Sun is one of the Sense8s in Angelica's, not cluster, but that came from Angelica, I guess. So Matheson might be able to do something about that. I'm wondering if there's like a hospital or infirmary inside the prison. So Matheson could force Sun into the surgery if he has any kind of pull in South Korea. And if Matheson is a government agent, I feel like something could be worked out. But yeah, I can't help not thinking about how Sun is going to escape prison. I just know that she's not going to be there for the whole series. So how's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? I would love it if Angelica could help somehow, because I love seeing more of Angelica. That doesn't really make sense to me, but I'm not the writer, so anything could happen. And I would love it if that happened. But yeah, she's gonna escape somehow. And I can't wait to see it. I feel like that's gonna be a fun scene whenever it happens. The thing I'm most excited about seeing in the next episode is, how is Nomi going to dig deeper? She is clearly not the kind of person to, like, how do I say it? She's not the kind of person to, like, give up when you're in danger. Like, she's obviously risky. She was helping Bug hack the Pentagon or whatever and took the fall. Like, she's not running away from this, basically. And I feel like she's absolutely going to dig deeper to find out more information, and I want to know, like, what's next for her. Is she going to continue to look into Metzger? Is she going to try and figure out what happened to Angelica? Could Angelica, like, reach out to her and prompt her? Or, okay, would Angelica help her? I don't think so. I think Angelica wanted to protect all of them from Matheson, so if Angelica does reach out to Nomi, I think it would be another warning and to implore her to stop. But I don't think she would listen. I don't think Nomi is, gonna follow in the footsteps of Nancy Drew and get to the bottom of this. So yeah, I want to see what does she do next. How is she gonna figure this out? Is she gonna go back to Bug to get more, I don't know, devices? I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing what's gonna happen. The last thing before I wrap up this video, let me know in the comments, what did you think about this episode? I really enjoyed this one. This might be my favorite so far. Of course, I love getting to know more about the Sense8 and how all that happened. So we got information about Niles and Metzger and Matheson. All of that, you know, fed my need to figure out what is going on with this power. So I love seeing that. I loved Will got a vision of Angelica. And the LHD stuff, I love their scenes together. They're always good together. So a lot of stuff that I like in this episode. Let me know what you thought of it. But that's gonna do it for me. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. If you enjoyed this video, I want to give you a gift as thanks for watching. You can get early access to watch my next video. You won't have to wait a week to see my thoughts on the next episode. Just click the link in the description to get access now. I'll see you there.